All right, this jersey has about a week left in my possession. It's a Brandon Ayuk jersey. All you have to do is be a subscriber, and one of you will win. All right.
Now turn up.
What up is Marcus with Dynasty Football Dads. We do daily Dynasty content, so please subscribe again for the free jersey giveaway. We're going to be doing why we draft early running backs in Dynasty Fantasy rookie drafts, especially rookie running backs that have high draft capital. That is almost one of the biggest reasons, or that's like the biggest reason why you want to draft a running back early is draft capital. Like all these things matter, watching videos and seeing player highlights and seeing how well a player does. But then you can have a player that you don't even care for that much. And for me, that was A.J. Dillon last year. And you could see him get drafted early, and all of a sudden, that changes everything. Even Cam Akers, a player that I wasn't super high on, drafted in the second round, boom. All of a sudden, now we're talking about a player that shoots up the boards. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, first round pick last year. So we're going to be going through, I'm going to be pointing out some of these different stats here. We're going to be going through running backs here first, and then we're going to be going through wide receivers. I'm going to drill this into your guys' heads so if you learn anything, it will be that early running backs, early draft capital running backs are going to succeed quicker than wide receivers, and this is how you rebuild. This is how you even just draft in general, because even if you don't need a wide receiver, these are the players that you draft, so then you can trade for a wide receiver plus something or a tight end plus something, because those types of players take more time to develop. CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, those are very unique situations. We don't see that very often. Those are less likely situations. So we're going to go with the first round, and this is the last 7 years. You can see all these different running backs here. We have the number of running backs, and then you can see that if you have a first-round running back, so Clyde Edwards-Helaire last year, and then plenty of running backs the years prior, they have a fantasy finish of about 21. So still, even if you're in redraft leagues, 21 is a decent running back RB2. And then you have some running backs that finish lower, like a Rashad Penny, and some that finish a lot higher. Of course, like even Clyde Edwards-Helaire had a bad year, but still finished in the RB2 category. So 50% of your RB1s, or 50% of your round one running backs are gonna finish as an RB1, which is awesome. Like if you are gonna draft a early running back like a Christian McCaffrey or Leonard Fournette in the past, or even like a Melvin Gordon in the past, these running backs, you're assuming that you're going to get production right away. Even with like Todd Gurley, production pretty close to right away. So 50% of the time you're having RB1. That's amazing just to have that ability to know that half the time, let's say if Najee Harris or Travis Etienne goes round one, you know that half the time they're going to finish as an RB1. 70% they're going to finish as an RB2. So you're talking about these top 2-3 running backs that might get into that round one. One of them is probably going to be into that round one. You're talking about 70% of the time they're going to be RB2. And then 80% an RB3, and 90% RB4. And then, of course, Rashad Penny, RIP. But anyways, all those, if you look at how amazing that is. So let's just go, okay, well, maybe two of the three big ones, Javonte Williams and maybe Travis Etienne, they get drafted in round two. What are we looking at? So yeah, your RB1 potential is a lot lower. We're talking about 13.6%. We're talking about the Jonathan Taylors of last year who finished extremely, extremely well. But we're talking still a little bit less than 50%, but almost 41% chance that he's going to be an RB2. So you're talking, again, near a halftime. And when you see these stats, just remember, in a couple minutes, you're going to look at the wide receiver ones, and you're going to go, oh my goodness, that's a huge change. But anyways, and then RB3, over half the time, almost 55%, and an RB4, which again is not great, but again, 77% of the time. Round three, we can look. Again, you're talking about RB1, 15.4%. So that round two, round three is not a big change, not a huge change. And if you watched my video previously about draft capital, I did this probably about a month ago, I would say. I said rounds 1 through 3 are super important. Round 1 for running back. Round 2 and 3 are very important for running back. And if you get drafted around 4 and beyond, then you just kind of just slightly maybe pencil in or put a dark line above round 4 because those top 3 round running backs, if I can say that quickly, are so important, but we'll get to it. So then 19.2%, so a huge decrease in your RB2 chance, 30.8% in RB3, and then 50% RB4. We were talking about the Antonio Gibsons of the world, but again, these are the running backs that are super important because if you look at round 4, we started getting to 0% in the last 7 years. 0% is not a good percentage in my opinion. I don't think that's a very good chance, and I would say that if you have a running back, let's say like a Michael Carter that gets drafted in round 4, or like a Chuba Hubbard, they would take a huge knock. That's why you wouldn't draft those ahead of some of these wide receivers and some of these tight ends, because you know they're not going to produce early, and you can get them after their rookie year. So let's go to wide receivers because that was fun, wasn't it? Round 1. What are we looking at? Are we looking at like a 50% wide receiver 1, like kind of like those running backs? No, actually 6.5% chance that they're going to be a top 12 wide receiver. That's a huge problem. That means that wide receivers aren't producing right away. Okay, well, let's look at wide receiver 2. Maybe they're just a wide receiver 2. We're talking, I mean, Justin Jefferson and again, CeeDee Lamb they performed super well. Even like Chase Claypool performed super well. Where do they stack up? So wide receiver 2, 22.6% of the time. Well, they weren't first. Chase Claypool wasn't a first round pick, but you get the idea with CeeDee Lamb and Justin Jefferson. So wide receiver 3, 29% of the time. So you're talking about 71% of the time they end up like Jerry Jeudy, or they end up like Jalen Reagor, or Henry Ruggs, or like the million of other wide receivers that are drafted in the first round that don't perform their rookie year. And all of a sudden now teams are starting to panic. Now teams are going, oh my goodness, what should I do? I'm Jalen Reagor, sell on the $0.25, sell on the $0.50, sell half value of what you got him last year. That is why you don't draft wide receivers early. As simple as that. Ahead of the top rookie draft capital running backs. Those are more important. Remember that. Just nail that into your head. I'm going to probably create 5-10 more videos in the next 2 months just saying this exact same stuff. Well, not the exact same stuff, but similar things. Just remember these things. Draft high capital running backs over wide receivers. I understand you want the wide receiver, but if you can trade that top running back after his rookie year because he performs better for the wide receiver and something, then you are going to win, and you're going to gain and collect assets. And you're going to then, especially if your team sucks, which some teams do if they have a high draft pick, then you're able to continue to build your team so then you can ultimately have an awesome team. Anyways, let's go to round 2. All right. Now we're talking, let's see where we're at. 2.6% chance as a wide receiver 1. I don't like that chance. 10.5% chance they're a wide receiver 2 in rookie year. 26.3% chance they're a wide receiver 3. And 29% they're a wide receiver 4. All right, that's not great, but if you look at rounds 3, 4, 5, and 6, 0% chance that you're wide receiver 1. Again, the last 7 years have not been very kind of this. And then you look at wide receiver 2s, you're just combine them to 3.1% chance. And wide receiver 3s, you can just look at that. Wide receiver 4s, not great. Again, if you are drafting for wide receivers, I put a big dark line after round 3. Ultimately, you can look at this and say the higher the draft capital of a wide receiver, the better that they have a chance of. But again, that is going to be your issue. Let's just peek at tight ends, just because we have Kyle Pitts in this class, who's a generational talent in my eyes. But the one issue from him going way, way up there, why I wouldn't draft him even in a tight end premium over even the likes of Najee Harris and probably like Travis Etienne, maybe even Javonte Williams, is the reason is if you're around, he's going to be drafted in the first round. Let's look at, fantasy finish average 26. That is horrible as a tight end. Like we were talking, that's like 300 yards. I mean, it's just not great. So 12.5% chance they're going to be a tight end 1. Okay, so you have a 1 in 12 chance. That's about 8.5% or something like that. 8.1 in 12 chance. Did I do that right? No. Whatever. No, that's 8.5 chance he finishes at each individual spot. Never mind. Analytics gone wrong. Erase the last 10 seconds I said. Top 18, 25. And then a tight end 2, 50%. So you're looking at, they have a good chance of being a tight end 2, but that is where you can 2022, I don't think is going to be nearly as good of a draft. That is where you take your 2022 first after Kyle Pitts, even in the middle of or towards the end of his rookie year. You take that first and you take something else and you package it together and you give it up for Kyle Pitts. And then now you have Kyle Pitts his second, third, fourth years. And we're talking about domination. But if you ultimately look at the rest of the tight ends, I mean, you were looking at really poor percentages. And honestly, they're not going to be a tight end one their rookie year. And they're probably not going to be a tight end top 18. Look at their tight end 2 chances, not really good either. So I hope this can shed a little bit of light. Sorry, I have 2 cats and they're fighting and being crazy right now. If you have a I lost my train of thought there. I'm almost saying if you have a top pick, picking running backs over wide receivers is going to be very important. And I hope these analytics shed some light on what to do when you have a top 2, 3, 4 pick and Javonte Williams versus Jamar Chase is on the board and you're looking at what to do. And my rankings reflect it, and what I've been saying over the last 2 months have reflected. Running backs 1, 2, 3. Yes, I even have another running back number 4 ahead of those wide receivers, which sounds crazy, but this is how you have to sometimes put not even more risk, because technically analytics show that running backs perform earlier. Yes, they have a shorter lifespan. That's why you need to draft them and then trade them away. So then you can hopefully draft some more running backs, especially if your team stinks. Then realistically, you can try to package a rookie running back and a veteran running back and then the rest of your team, and that's how you try to compete for a kind of contending championship, or that's how I see many championships being won, is they have everything around it. They have a rookie running back or a really young running back, and then they have usually a veteran running back that they're just trying to fill in, and sometimes it's even that third running back that they're just piecing together to try to compete for that championship. All right? So that's what I'm saying today. All right. Brandon Ayuk jersey. Please subscribe. See you tomorrow. Take care. Peace out.
Now turn up.